right, Robin, Memorial Stadium is sold out for the 98th consecutive game. It is Bedlam, 109th version. Oklahoma State ready to take on the number 20 team in the country, Oklahoma, on a crisp December day with the temperatures in the low 40s as we get set for kickoff. Welcome inside, Joe Davis, Joey Harrington. Chris Button joins us in a moment. This is a series that historically has been dominated by Oklahoma. More interesting the last few years, and it's had Big 12 title implications the last few years. Not the case today, but what is at stake?
Well, pride is at stake. I mean, Oklahoma State has had a very inconsistent year, starting 5-1, but like you said, losing the last 5. And while a win today would give them 6 and make them bowl eligible, the most important thing is that they would have beaten Oklahoma, and in this state, that is huge. 365 days of bragging rights. But that's not going to be an easy job, because on the other side of the field is probably the best offensive line in all of college football, and they're blocking for a young man named Semaje Perine. Over the last 2 games, 640 yards and 8 touchdowns, including an FBS record 427 yards against Kansas. I mean, this guy is the most mature running back I've seen in a long time for a freshman, and he's running behind an O-line that opens up gaping holes.
Well, Mike Gundy, head coach for OK State, wasn't prepared to name his starting quarterback during the week. He said that he'd make up his mind on the bus ride to the stadium. He's had that bus ride, and Chris Button, you've got an answer.
Yes, he has made up his mind. I talked to Coach Gundy moments ago. He told me that Mason Rudolph is going to get the start today, making the freshman's 2nd consecutive start. Now, him and Dax Garman split reps throughout practice, but Coach Gundy told me that Mason just looked better this week, and they met after Thursday's practice and decided that he was better, ready to go to start this game. Now for OU, they are optimistic that Sterling Shepard will be able to play today. They're just not sure how much. He's been limited recently with a lingering groin injury, Joe.
All right, Chris, 3 of the last 4 Bedlams have been decided in the final minutes. It may be that Oklahoma's dominated this series all time, and they've won 10 of the last 11, so on paper they've dominated recently as well, but things much more interesting over the last few years for Mike Gundy and this Oklahoma State program as they've really come on as one of the Big 12 powers. That's what's made this season such a disappointment for that team. The guy that's been a part of 24 Bedlam games now, Bob Stoops, in his 15 Bedlams, 12-3. Oklahoma State won the toss and deferred to the second half, so the Sooners will have it to begin. And Alex Ross, who's brought back 2 for touchdowns this year, takes a knee. And OU begins at the 25. Joey, give us 3 things we need to know.
Well, quarterback Cody Thomas for Oklahoma hasn't needed to throw the ball the last couple of weeks, but today he's going to have to complete some passes to at least keep Oklahoma State's defense honest. He hasn't had to throw the ball because he's had a guy named Semaje Perine, 640 yards and 8 touchdowns over the last 2 games. That's kind of good.
Not bad.
Last time I checked, yeah. Oklahoma State's defense, on the other hand, has given up a touchdown drive, touchdowns on the first 2 possessions over the last 4 games. They have to avoid that slow start if they want to stay in this football game.
They're facing the Big 12's top rushing offense. They've struggled to stop the run lately. More than 200 yards per game allowed on the ground over the last 5 for the Cowboys. They've been one of the worst in the nation against the pass all year. So Cody Thomas and this offense break the huddle for the game's first play. They bring a jet sweep into the short side. It's Micaiah Quick, whose role is increased with the injury to Sterling Shepard. Angled out of bounds by Kevin Peterson and a first down gain of 8.
Well, Joe, the offensive line for Oklahoma is the one that gets all the credit for blocking, but right there, Jerron Neal was the one who sprung that play, getting a great block from the slot. Everybody on this Oklahoma team needs to block if they're going to have success today.
This is Semaje Perine. He's got a first down on his first carry, drags the defender across the 45. Ran for an FBS record 427 yards on 34 carries in his last game against Kansas.
Semaje Perine, I love what Coach Josh Heupel said. He's the most physically and mentally mature young man I've seen come through here in a long time. He is a special, special freshman.
Fresh out of downs from the 48 on Oklahoma's first possession. Back-to-back Perine touches. Steps out of a tackle, crosses midfield. Pulled down by Seth Jacobs. after a pickup of about 3 for a guy at 243 pounds out of Pflugerville, Texas, who arrived as the number 4 running back for the Sooners. He had Ford, who was going to be the starter. Joe Mixon dismissed this season for off-the-field issues. Alex Ross was also ahead of Perine in the depth chart. Perine taking advantage of the increased opportunities in a big way. Ross in motion, takes it on 2nd down. Has Bell in front for a block for a 1st down inside the 35. Bumped out of bounds by Jordan Stearns after a gain of 17.
Joe, again, Duron Neal, number 5. You're going to see him right here in the slot. Does a great job of sealing that edge to allow Alex Ross to get to the outside. You see a lot of wide receivers. They don't want to get in there. They don't want to mix it up. Duron Neal, twice now on this opening series, has done a great job not catching the ball but blocking.
Into Oklahoma State territory from the 32. Perine back in the game at running back. And they'll give it to him. This time swallowed up, got maybe a yard. Josh Furman, the Michigan transfer, is in there first. Well, it's an Oklahoma team early on this season was throwing for more yards than it was running the ball. They've been a good running team all season, but since Trevor Knight has gone out with the injury, a remarkable split. Almost exclusively on the ground over the last at least 6 quarters coming into this one.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of things that go into that. Trevor Knight's injury, Sterling Shepard's injury, the weather in the last couple games. I mean, it was a monsoon against Kansas.
Direct snap to Perine. Huge hole off the left side. And Perine sets up 1st down and goal. More of the same for the Sooners with a gaping hole for 27.
Joe, this offensive line for Oklahoma, I said it at the start, I think they're the best in the country. Watch the size of this hole off the left side in between Aaron Ripkowski and left tackle Tyrus Thomas. I mean, heck, I could have run through that hole for at least maybe 5 or 6, and you give a guy like Semaje Perine that much space, there's no stopping that.
1st down and goal from the 4. Aaron Ripkowski in at fullback. And he leads the way for Perine. Like clockwork on the 1st drive. Dominant performance on the ground for a Sooner touchdown.
Joe, until Oklahoma State shows that they can stop the ground game for the Sooners, you are going to get a heavy dose of this. Aaron Ripkowski as the lead blocker, Semaje Perine following him through the hole, in for 6.
And Honeycutt's extra point is good. 8 plays, 8 runs for the Sooners. And now over the last 6+ quarters, how about this split? 96 run plays, 16 pass plays. Whatever it takes. This is a dominant opening drive for the Sooners and a 7-0 lead. 50 yards on the opening drive. 7 plays and all runs for the Sooners.
What's that, 690 yards now over the last couple of games?
We're talking an historic clip.
Oh yeah, he was only 27 yards behind the FBS record for a 2-game stretch. He may be adding to that right now.
Short kick taken at the 5. And brought back across the 20-yard line by Des Roland. That's where Oklahoma State will begin its first possession. Chris told us off at the top of the show that it will be Mason Rudolph. Give us 3 things we need to know.
Well, yeah, Mason Rudolph, his first start a couple weeks ago against Baylor, played well, 280 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air, but he's going to have to do more than that today in the Bedlam game. He's going to be looking for another true freshman, James Washington, who's emerged as the top wide receiver for Oklahoma State. This young man has a lot of potential, and if they're going to do it against this Oklahoma defense, it's going to be through the air. Against the run, they're 11th in the FBS against the rush, but through the air, 114th against the pass. Teams can throw it against Oklahoma.
They're coming off their best game. They held Kansas to 103 yards in a downpour 2 weeks ago. Rudolph starts out of the gun. They fake it to Hill, give it to Roland, who went for 144 yards and a couple of touchdowns in that loss for Oklahoma State in Stillwater last year in the Bedlam game. Roland not nearly as big of a season numbers-wise. Kind of a trickle-down effect from the struggling offensive line and the lack of mobility at quarterback.
Well, I think that's the key. J.W. Walsh not being in the ballgame, his ability to run keeps the defense honest. And Coach Gundy told us a couple weeks ago, those runs that went for 10 and 12 yards for Roland last year are only going for 4 to 6 this year because that backside end is allowed to crash down since there's no threat of the run by the quarterback.
Rudolph to throw for the first time. Steps away from the pressure. Heaves one dangerously that finds Washington. The freshman Thomas took a chance. Couldn't come up with it. And Washington made him pay for 25 yards close to midfield.
Boy, what movement in the pocket by Mason Rudolph there. Had a guy coming free right up the middle. Slides to the side. Finds his receiver. You said it. Made a little bit of a dangerous throw out to James Washington there, but you'll see it. Rudolph has a guy come screaming free right up the middle, slides to the side, gets the ball out. Nice job by the freshman.
From the 48, first down, Oklahoma State. Rudolph into the wide side, too tall for an open Washington. And it's second down and 10. It's the lowest scoring Oklahoma State offense since 2005. Remember Rudolph against Baylor 2 weeks ago led them to 28 points. They hadn't scored more than one offensive touchdown in the previous 4 games.
Well, a lot of things contribute to that. Dax Garman has been receiving a lot of the criticism, but look, he's had no chance to throw the football this year. The offensive line has been, I guess, porous to say the very least. Mason Rudolph coming in fresh, just a spark he's been able to provide.
Second and 10. Rudolph pulls it and then gets it out to Hill, who makes one man miss, and the speedster breaking back to the inside for a first down. Anytime you talk to a defensive coordinator that's getting ready to face Oklahoma State, the first name he brings up, Tyreek Hill.
Well, and there's the reason why. This young man is special fast. I mean, he is a track star, a football star. He's second in the Big 12 in all-purpose yards, almost 500 yards rushing, 700 yards in kick returns. Anytime this guy gets the ball in open space, he's dangerous.
Full house backfield on first down from the 42. Here's Hill off the left side. Bubbling it away from Alexander with a cutback. Surges forward for 6 or 7. Alexander was there for the stop on Hill's second consecutive touch.
Well, Joe, Oklahoma State is putting a little bit of offensive momentum together here right now. They're moving the chains for the first time in a couple games. You know, I asked Coach Gundy, why hasn't Tyreek Hill been a bigger part of the offense over the last 2 games? And he said, it's not like we're not trying to get him the ball. We just haven't been converting on third down to sustain drives. Oklahoma State on this first drive is doing a nice job of moving the chains. Therefore, Hill's getting more touches.
Hill's deployed out to the near side with one-on-one against Sanchez. They roll a safety over the top, and Rudolph will hand it off to Roland, who's got a hole for a first down over the left side of that offensive line that's been patchwork. And in that Baylor game 2 weeks ago, all kinds of changes up front, trying to find the right combination.
Well, I think Zachary Crabtree coming back at right tackle has really been the key, or at least was the key in the Baylor game. With Crabtree coming back at tackle, they were able to move Grisby and Wilson back to guards. You mentioned it. They've been moving people all over the place on that offensive line, but I think getting Crabtree back has been the key.
From the 29, they fake to Glidden. Rudolph has a man over the middle. First down and goal. It's Jeremy Seaton, the junior, with his 7th catch of the season for 26 yards. And the fake opened the middle of the field.
Joe, Mason Rudolph pumped out to the right side, got the defense to slide, and you said it, found Seaton right up the middle.
Des Roland down to the 1, stopped by Alexander, 2nd and goal. Roland had a big game last year in this matchup, couple of touchdowns. He had 144 yards. That didn't include a 75-yard touchdown on the first play of the game that was overturned by a penalty. On 2nd and goal, Roland again plunges in for the Oklahoma State touchdown. And the Cowboys respond to the Sooners' score with a strike of their own.
Joe, this is what we've come to expect from Oklahoma State over the last few years. Explosive plays through the air, the little quick hitters to the outside, and then you give it to Desmond Rowland, the hammer, to finish things off. 6'2", 210 pounds. He's a big, strong running back. Plunges in for the 6-point answer.
29th career score for the senior from Dallas. Grogan on for the extra point. Tie the game at 7. 9 plays, 77 yards with good balance. This is one of the 4 passes on the drive to Seaton down the seam to set up on 2nd down and goal. The touchdown run from Rowland. Good balance from the Cowboys. Sooners back in the field when you come back. Scoring drive for Oklahoma State. Good balance on that possession with 5 runs, 4 passes executed by Mason Rudolph to equal the score at 7. Deron Neal waits back with one of the nation's top kick returners, Alex Ross, and they'll wait until the last moment to split. Neal wearing 5, Ross wearing 28. And Ross will have a chance at this one, but it goes off his fingertips into the end zone where he'll take a knee. 8th Oklahoma play is the first pass, and it's Sterling Shepard with his first offensive touch since the first play of the Iowa State game back on November 1st when he injured his groin and comes up limp again.
Yeah, exactly. He looks like he's done it again. It's so tough for a wide receiver or a DB, somebody who relies on their ability to move explosively laterally, to come back and play on a groin, hamstring, quad, some sort of leg injury at less than 100%. You hate to see a guy like Sterling Shepard, who's had such a fantastic year, struggle down the stretch like this.
From the 32, high snap pulled down, and here is Ford getting tripped up with a backside pursuit from Seth Jacobs. Sophomore from California, won the job during fall camp, has played well for this OK State defense. Group that had 7 new starters this year. Close to 80% of last year's tackles graduated. 2nd down and 10. They fake the sweep. Thomas has Bell running free. And Blake Bell steps inside the 25. 55 yards to the senior, who's become a Bedlam legend.
Joe, everybody remembers Blake Bell as the Belldozer, the quarterback on short yardage and goal line for Oklahoma. But this unselfish senior went into offensive coordinator Josh Heupel's office in the offseason and said, I want to help this team. I can move to tight end and better serve this school. What a unselfish young man this guy is. You mentioned it. He's a Bedlam legend. Had a terrific game as the 3rd string quarterback last year, coming in and saving the ball game. What a fantastic young man. The kind of guy you'd love to have on your team.
His first catch in 4 games. Here's Perine. Not much of a hole this time. Oklahoma State's defense much better against the run these last 2 drives, after Oklahoma averaged more than 10 yards a carry on their first possession. Bell back in the game. You mentioned that drive he led him on last year to win the game. Remember 2 years ago, last time Bedlam was played here in Norman, he came in as the Belldozer with 4 seconds left on a 4th down and goal, or 4th down and 1 from the 4-yard line, and crashed in to send the game into overtime. Game which they later won. Here's Ross taking the fake, and Thomas taking the ball for a short gain, and it's 3rd down. To bring this first quarter to a close, each team marched it down the field and scored on their first possession, but then the defense is stiffening up. Oklahoma on the move once again and looking at a 3rd down to begin the second quarter in the 109th Bedlam. We'll begin this quarter with a big 3rd down for the Oklahoma offense. Cody Thomas has completed all 3 of his passes so far. Oklahoma marched down the field with 7 run plays to begin for a touchdown, but Oklahoma State's defense is sharpened up for the final few minutes of that first quarter. 3rd down and 6. Against a 4-man rush, Ford is wide open out of the backfield. Runs through a defender to set up 1st and goal. Second reception for the sophomore. Moves it down to the 6. Oklahoma brings Perine back into the game at running back. So back into a heavy set. Ripkowski leading the way for Perine. Stood up at the goal line. Second effort shut down as well. Second and goal. And how about the effort from this Oklahoma State defense right now?
Well, Joe, watch Billy Leveni come in, number 95. He's going to come up and clean the pile. Great initial stop right there. Perine keeps his feet moving. Here he comes. 95, wham! Cleans up the pile, keeps Perine from stretching that ball out. Look, everybody on this Oklahoma State defensive line, starters, subs, they're all getting in the mix today. They're going to force Oklahoma to throw this football.
Ripkowski. And the fullback fights his way in for the score. Boy, they pounded away and pounded away, then decided to give it to the senior. His first touchdown. Oklahoma's back in front.
Joe, why not reward the senior? Aaron Ripkowski, the guy who's the lead blocker. The former state powerlifting champion. I mean, this guy is just a football player. Old school, hard-nosed, tough football player. Reward him a little bit. Give him a touchdown every once in a while.
Honeycutt adds on the extra point. Boy, it seemed like Oklahoma was inside the 5-yard line forever, taking advantage of a couple of pass interference calls. And then handing the ball to the former walk-on, the fullback from Dayton, Texas, Aaron Ripkowski, in for the touchdown, and Oklahoma back in front. It feels how it should in early December for Bedlam. The 109th meeting between these programs, and Aaron Ripkowski, senior fullback, plunges in for the touchdown to put the Sooners back in front.
Joe, I got to say, what a great college campus this is. What a great college feel. Walking through before the game, the bells are going off, playing the fight song. Just a wonderful atmosphere here in Norman.
You said on our walk to breakfast this morning that the bells are your favorite part of a college campus.
Oh, yeah. You get the clock tower that plays the fight song. Nothing better than that.
Conson, who's second in the country in touchback percentage, moves Hill into the end zone and collects another. Team first down and 10 from the 35. They fake it to Rowland. Into the short side, they go for Shepard, close to a first down against Jordan Thomas. Second leading receiver for the Cowboys, having a career year at only 15 catches over his first 2 seasons combined. That's catch number 28 here in 2014.
And Joe, I like what Brandon Shepard did on that route. Instead of stopping, he came back towards the ball and cut off the angle of the Oklahoma defender. You know, that makes it so much easier for a quarterback knowing that your receivers are going to come back and make a play on the ball as opposed to waiting for it to get to them.
Here's Rowland with a seam, and Des Rowland runs through a defender for a first down to the 41. 14 yards for the senior from Dallas, who has the Oklahoma State touchdown in this game.
And Joe, that's what's been missing from the Oklahoma State ground game this year, those explosive runs. You see him right there. Number 75, Chris Grisby, driving the defensive lineman out of the way. And Desmond Rowland at 6'2", 210 pounds, just gets going downhill.
Fake to Glidden, go to Rowland again. Patiently waits for the hole to develop. It never does. Alexander and Tapper there to drop him for a short loss.
You know, Joe, what I like about that play is he didn't try and make too much out of it. You know, a lot of times you see a running back get stretched to the sideline and he starts dancing. He tries to find a hole, tries to be Barry Sanders. Take the loss. Now you're in 2nd and 10 instead of taking a big loss backwards and putting your team behind the chains in 2nd and 14 or 15.
Hill coming in motion. They'll swing it to him. Tyreek Hill spinning his way across the 40. Short gain. Third down coming up for Oklahoma State as they continue to try and find ways to get the ball into Hill's hands.
Well, they've got the opportunity this game. You know, we talked about their inability to convert on 3rd down, and Coach Gundy emphasized that in our phone call with him this week. Oklahoma State's offense needs to convert on third down, to stay on the field, to get the ball into their hands of their playmakers, and they've done a fairly nice job of that to start this ball game.
Third down and 8. Pressure's picked up, so Rudolph with a chance to go deep for Shepard, and a touchdown, beating Thomas from 39 yards and an extra point from a tie game. That offensive line that struggled so much picked up the blitz.
That's right, and Mason Rudolph sat in there under the pressure. Look at this, anticipates the throw. You don't see many freshmen anticipate throws like that. They wait for their wide receiver to make the break and often throw it late. That time, Mason Rudolph puts the ball out in front of his wide receiver, Shepard, who runs under it for a touchdown. Nice job by the freshman in the pocket.
Extra point from Grogan ties the game at 14. A 6-play, 75-yard drive, and on third down and 8, the freshman hitting the junior from St. Louis, who beat Thomas for the score. And we're tied again in the 109th Bedlam. 39 yards. His freshman's look pretty sharp once again.
Yes, he has, Joe.
Kip Smith, this time going into the wind, chips it, and Ross bringing it back from the 14. Ross slipping free across the 45. 33-yard return in Oklahoma. Great field position. Perine with a gain of 6. This Oklahoma offense leading the Big 12 in rushing, leading the country in rushing in the month of November as we look at our Lincoln Wish List sales event stat comparison. And the Oklahoma State defense over the last 5 games giving up more than 200 a game on the ground.
Not necessarily the best way to be coming in against a running back like Semaje Perine and an offensive line like Oklahoma.
Trying to get outside here, and Ogba showing good quickness, slowing Perine up and allowing Simmons to drag him down with a flag down.
Personal foul. 15-yard penalty enforced from the end of the line. First down.
So instead of a third down and 6 or 7, this one moves the chains.
Well, Joe, you're going to see Ogba here just reaching in. Oh, excuse me. Number 52, Ryan Simmons, getting in on the face mask of Perine there. Ogba was the one who stretched the play out to the side. At 6'4", 270 pounds, this guy is the prototypical NFL defensive end. He's strong, he's fast, and he stretched that all the way out for his linebacker to clean up. Just got a little bit of the face mask there at the end.
Keith Ford comes back in. He's been an important piece of this offense out of the backfield, catching the football so far in this game. He gets it in the ground on first down. Ripkowski with a block to spring him outside. Stays on his feet, close to a first down, and they spot him with enough on a gain of 11.
Joe, Aaron Ripkowski absolutely flat-backed the Oklahoma State defender, clearing the way for Keith Ford. Watch this. Number 48 just dropping Stevens, paving a way for Keith Ford to get in there. Aaron Ripkowski, the fullback, never gets the credit, but this guy is as big a key to this Oklahoma rushing attack as anybody.
Neal comes in motion. Looks like a trick play, and it is. K.J. Young across the 15. And once again, Ripkowski out in front with a block.
This guy is everywhere, Joe. I'm telling you. They line him up in the backfield. They put him on the line of scrimmage as a tight end. You're going to see 48 right here. Ripkowski come in up to the line of scrimmage, peel around, and gets the lead block. Out in front of K.J. Young, Aaron Ripkowski, the senior, just awarded the Don Key, the Don Key Award winner for the most inspirational Oklahoma walk-on. Has earned a scholarship, but this guy is the type of player you build a team around.
First down from the 14, back to Perine. He powers his way inside the 10. Got 5. It'll be 2nd and 5. So Ford goes out. Perine comes in. He had 50 yards on that opening drive, but Oklahoma State has quieted him since. Still, though, best 3-game stretch in Oklahoma history for a running back. Passes a guy named Billy Sims for the best 3-game stretch in OU history.
Yeah, not too bad. And that 3 games still hasn't. We haven't completed that 3rd game. You know, we're only a couple minutes into this 2nd quarter here. There's still a lot of ball game left for that record.
6th consecutive run produces a touchdown and an Oklahoma lead. Once again, back to the ground. And that offensive line and the fullback Ripkowski blowing up the hole for Perine.
When the offensive line opens holes like this, it is nearly impossible to stop Semaje Perine. It's impossible to stop Keith Ford or Alex Ross or any running back that you put in the backfield when the offensive line opens holes like that.
Good response for the Sooners after Oklahoma State went down and tied the game with a long touchdown. Perine in for his 2nd touchdown of the afternoon. Once again, Ripkowski with a big block. One of the nation's top offensive lines getting the job done again. OU back in front. Perine with his 2nd touchdown, his 7th rushing touchdown in the last 6 quarters. Tyreek Hill goes back for this kickoff. For Nick Hodgson, 2nd in the country in touchback percentage. And grabs another here. Roland bounces off initial contact, gets 3. Charles Walker, redshirt freshman from Garland, Texas, makes the stop, 2nd and 7. How about Mason Rudolph, first Oklahoma State true freshman quarterback to start Bedlam since 1992 when Gary Porter did it. Prior to that, Mike Gundy, his head coach, the last freshman, or true freshman at least, to start in this game, 1986. It was a 19-0 loss for Mike Gundy's Cowboys. 2nd and 7. Into the short side, Washington couldn't hang on. That popped out of there by Sanchez, 3rd down. In 2001 as well, you won't see on this list, but he had Josh Fields come off of the bench and lead Oklahoma State to a win, an upset win. Cowboys come into this game a 3-touchdown underdog for the first time since that 0-1 game, which they won with a freshman Fields leading the way at quarterback.
I remember that 0-1 game, Joe.
Yeah,
that one helped me out a little bit.
Yeah. On 3rd and 7. Heaves one out of bounds. But it's 4th down. Good coverage downfield from the Sooners that time. Tapper with the pressure on Rudolph, who had to heave it away.
Well, Joe, and a smart play by Mason Rudolph, just throwing the ball out of bounds there. Don't force it. You're only a touchdown down. Your offense has moved the ball well. Your defense has played very well against this great Oklahoma running game. Don't do anything silly there and give up momentum. Throw the ball out of bounds, punt it. Nice decision.
Kip Smith with a line drive punt to Zach Sanchez. Fair catch taken at the 36 on a punt of 36. And some shoving going on after the play. So Oklahoma back to the field on offense at the 36. We set it off at the top. Cody Thomas needed to help keep Oklahoma State honest. He's a perfect 4 of 4 for 72 yards. That ground game for the most part, getting it done once again. They start this drive on the ground with Perine. Stop made by Larry Stevens, and a good thing for Oklahoma State that he did. There was a lot of space outside.
Well, Joe, one of the few times I've seen Perine make the wrong move. He had Adam Shedd pulling around as a lead blocker there, and had he followed him up inside the hole, he had all sorts of room to get into the Oklahoma State secondary. Instead, which is a mistake that a lot of young freshmen make, he tried to bounce it out, make the big play. Sometimes you just got to stick your nose in there and get 4 to 5 yards when you can.
On 2nd and 7. Perine again with a seam. Perine bounces outside, and he'll take it inside the 25. 42 yards for Semaje Perine, and he jumps over 100 yards in this first half.
Well, Joe, last play, Perine didn't follow Shedd. This time he does. You're going to see big 74 pulling around. just flat backing the defender for Oklahoma State, opening up a huge hole for Perine to get through into the secondary. Follow your big boys. They're going to take you to the promised land. Good job by Perine sitting in behind the block and then exploding for the huge play down the field.
He gets a break, Ford back in. And off play action, Bell with a one-handed catch. First down and goal, Oklahoma.
Wow. This young man can do everything, and how great is it to see him having this type of success in the Bedlam game in his final senior year.
Ripkowski, the lead blocker for Ford. He slipped and fell inside the 5. Ramon Richards there to make sure he got no further. Second and goal.
Joe, we were talking about it before the game. Blake Bell, for me, has kind of a Tim Tebow feel in that he's been the face of this Oklahoma Sooners team for a few years now. He was the cult follower. You know, you knew the Belldozer when he came in the short yardage. He's had a great career as a quarterback, 12 touchdowns passing, 24 rushing, but he does everything, asking to move to tight end. You know, Oklahoma is going to miss him when he graduates this year.
Perine into the arms of Castleman. And third down and goal coming up. Oklahoma State again, once backed into its own 5. Doing a nice job of standing tall. Now let's see what they do on third and goal, because the last time the Sooners got down here, they drew a couple of pass interference calls.
Well, yeah, you give Oklahoma enough chances, they're going to pound it into the end zone. But credit Oklahoma State's defensive line. They have done a nice job of just bowing their necks and making a pile there down at the goal line.
Out of the I formation on third and goal, they fake to Perine. Ripkowski's out there, making a move, fighting forward, still fighting, in, touchdown, his second of the day.
What a day for Aaron Ripkowski. Earlier with the touchdown rush, now with the touchdown catch. Oh, tuck that ball away, young man. But the senior having a fantastic day in his final Bedlam game. All the seniors getting involved. Blake Bell, Aaron Ripkowski. You love to see that if you're a Sooner fan.
I remember when Ripkowski went out against Kansas State because of a targeting penalty on a blindside block in the second half of that game. Oklahoma's offense stalled inside the 5. They didn't have him in there as the lead blockers. Back-to-back touchdowns for the Sooners to break a 14-14 tie. 28-14 Oklahoma. Now we send it to Rob Stone in Los Angeles. Bringing us back inside the broadcast booth. Joe Davis, Joey Harrington. The MO for this Oklahoma team the last couple of weeks as Trevor Knight has gone down has been running the football and no different through a half today.
Well, yeah, Semaje Perine has been his incredible self in this first half. I mean, think about this. He needs only 108 yards to break Ricky Williams' FBS 2-game record of 662 yards, and he needs only 170 yards in this second half to break Barry Sanders' 3-game record, and he's not doing it on his own. He's doing it with Ripkowski in front of him. He's doing it with the offensive line in front of him. Everybody is getting involved in this Oklahoma running game.
36 plays for the Sooners, 30 of them were run plays. Meanwhile, Oklahoma State staying in the game behind their true freshman quarterback Mason Rudolph, who passed for 179 or 138 yards in that first half. There is Perine. Here comes the Oklahoma kickoff team as Oklahoma State deferred to the second half. And you don't want to call it a must-score drive. You don't want to put them away this early in the game, but this is a real important drive for the Cowboys to begin the second half.
Well, this is a big drive for momentum, and it's a big drive for the confidence of Mason Rudolph. I mean, he's played so well in this first half that you forget that this guy's a true freshman. I mean, this is only the second start of his career, and he's 10 of 15 for 138 yards and a touchdown. But this drive can establish your confidence going forward in the second half.
Hodgson with the wind. Gets a hold of this one as well, and Tyreek Hill frustratedly watches it bounce out of the back of the end zone. check in with Chris Budden.
Well, Joey, you talked about Mason Rudolph, and I talked to Coach Gundy about what he thought of his first half performance. He said he was pretty pleased. He did have some missed throws, but for the most part, he's happy with the way that his freshman has been managing the offense. He said on defense, the key to this second half is they can't miss tackles. He said coming into the game, we were really worried about this Oklahoma power run. They put up 180 yards on the ground. He said we can't miss tackles, can't give them any more opportunities with the penalties.
Great stuff, Chris. Second half begins from the 25 in the fog here in Norman. Desmond Roland on first down for 2. Now, what's it going to take for this Oklahoma State offense to add some points on the board?
You got to stop shooting themselves in the foot. I mean, they were moving the ball on their last drive, and the ineligible man downfield took away a huge pass play to Jeremy Seaton up the seam. I mean, those little mistakes are what have cost Oklahoma State today. The pass interference in the end zones, 2 of them kept the Oklahoma drive alive, gave them 7 points. That time on the last drive, they're moving the ball. Again, another penalty brings them back behind the chains. 8
penalties today on the Cowboys. Pressure coming from the near side. Rudolph throws the other way, incomplete. Had it been on Washington, he could have run for days.
Oh, and he still would have been running, Joe. Oklahoma brought pressure, and you saw it get to Mason Rudolph in the backfield. He had to slide over, but what it it vacated a giant hole in the middle of the defense. James Washington simply needs to keep running.
Yeah, that's not a bad throw.
No, it wasn't. He just slowed his motor down a little bit. Maybe expected somebody to be there, but keep running, put your hands out, catch the football, and you're in the end zone for 6.
Instead, 3rd down and 8. Rudolph, nice scramble. Throws it wildly incomplete, dangerously towards Washington. And a 3-and-out for an Oklahoma State team that entered the game with 49 3-and-outs on the season, 4th most in the country.
Well, Joe, and this has been the problem for Oklahoma State all year, is the offensive line has not been able to provide adequate protection for their quarterback. It doesn't matter if Dax Garman or J.W. Walsh or Mason Rudolph is in there. When you're not protecting your quarterback, he doesn't have a chance to throw the ball down the field.
Kip Smith only averaging 35 yards per punt. This one not very strong either. 29-yard punt from Smith. 2nd and 15. Thomas, one-on-one, back shoulder for Young, but incomplete. And 3rd down and 15. This Oklahoma State defense doing its part.
They really are. They've put Oklahoma in another 3rd and long situation. And frankly, Joe, I didn't think it would have this much of an effect, losing Semaje Perine. You know, Keith Ford and Alex Ross are very good running backs, and the offensive line has done a good job of opening the holes. But the 2 drives without him, they've been set behind the chains right from the start.
Only 62 third-quarter yards. Thomas against a 4-man rush, feels the pressure and steps away. Pumps, cuts, goes down. Got a yard. Ryan Simmons makes sure that he doesn't get any more. That should be the end of this 3rd quarter. Len Spencer proud of the way his defense has played today, especially in this 3rd quarter. Keeping the Cowboys in the game.
Into the 3rd quarter.
It'll be an Oklahoma punt to start the 4th. Sooners lead by 14, trying to win their 3rd straight to cap this season. Oklahoma State trying to get a big comeback to snap that 5-game skid. 98th consecutive sellout, Memorial Stadium, and ready for the 4th quarter. This Bedlam game, 28-14, Oklahoma in front. Joe Davis, Joey Harrington, Chris Budden here in Norman. Mike Pereira back in LA helping us out with the rules today. And only the 3rd Oklahoma punt will come from Jed Barnett with a dangerous Tyreek Hill waiting back. A line drive should give him a chance. Hill retreating at his 15. They hem him in and drop him at the 21. The Oklahoma State offense, which scored on its first drive, impressive for a good chunk of the first half, has been shut down lately.
Well, Joe, you said it to me just a second ago. Oklahoma State had 2 touchdowns that they didn't take advantage of in that 3rd quarter. The pass up the sideline to Glidden, and then the slant to Washington. Neither of those balls were caught. Oklahoma State has to take advantage of the opportunities they have. I mean, they're giving this game to Oklahoma right now.
Bottom line, make a play, and you're not down 2 touchdowns. The freshman calmly throws outside. And a first down gain of 8 for Brandon Shepard against Jordan Thomas. Rudolph in his second start. Efficient once again, hasn't turned the ball over. 14 of 25 through the air for 173. The true freshman out of Rock Hill, South Carolina. Fake to Roland. Glidden open over the middle. He makes a play for a first down to the 49. Great anticipation from the freshman Rudolph.
Joe, what a nice job by Rudolph, waiting for Glidden to get to the second window, and then just like you said, he anticipated it. The linebacker for Oklahoma is going to settle right under that first window, so he waits for him to get in. Releases the ball before he gets to the second defender, Dominic Alexander. Nice job by Mason Rudolph getting the ball right where David Glidden needed it.
From the 48 now with a first down and 10. Blitz coming from the near side. Rudolph throws the bubble into it. My goodness. Glidden gets lit up by Sanchez. This is how you make a hard hit.
Well, yeah, people were wondering, well, how do you hit somebody if you can't use the top of your helmet and you can't hit somebody high in the head? Well, this is exactly what you do. Drop your shoulder into their chest. And young men, if you want to know how to make a perfect form tackle, that's it right there. Zach Sanchez dropping the hammer on David Glidden.
There to stop the game for Glidden. That's why he's got to come out. Second down and 10 for Oklahoma State. Tyreek Hill in the backfield. He'll take it, penetration, but he breaks through. And Hill with a speed explodes inside the 30. It's a run of 32 yards, got tripped up at the last moment to save the touchdown.
Joe, this young man is electric. Tyreek Hill, if you give him any space at all, he will make you pay. Just a shoelace away from breaking that for a touchdown. This is the momentum that Oklahoma State needs. They need a score right here. They need a touchdown to get back into this ball game.
First down from the 26. Rudolph looking backside and has a completion down to the 10. First down. Once again, it's Shepard working against Thomas.
Joe, and I'm really surprised. They are leaving single coverage outside on the wide receivers is Oklahoma. They're daring Mason Rudolph to throw this football, and frankly, I think he's shown the ability to do so. 16 for 28 for 200 yards and a touchdown so far. This true freshman is showing me a lot today.
They call it first and goal. It's a trick play. Shepard's got it. A block from Rudolph. Inside the 5, second and goal. Heck of a day for Brandon Shepard, junior from St. Louis, who's got a touchdown catch. It has become somewhat of a security blanket, it's looked like at times, for Mason Rudolph.
Well, yeah, I mean, we talked about it a second ago. A drop touchdown by Glidden, a potential drop touchdown by Washington. Brandon Shepard has been the rock for Mason Rudolph today in the passing game.
Two fullbacks in the game on second and goal. It's Roland making a cut. Second effort, touchdown Oklahoma State. On the second rushing score of the day for Roland.
Here we go, Joe. Expect nothing less from this Bedlam game. Every year it comes down to the fourth quarter. It doesn't matter who's ranked in the top 25 and who's struggling to have a successful season. This game always comes down to the last couple drives.
3 of the last 4 have been decided in the very final minutes of the game. Rogan with the extra point. Back to a one-score game with the first points of this second half for either side. It was Tyreek Hill hitting the seam for a big gain to set it all up. And Roland capped it off with his second rushing score of the day. Early on in the fourth quarter, the 109th meeting between these in-state rivals, dominated by Oklahoma historically, 83-18 with 7 ties. But over the last few years, come to expect this kind of craziness down the stretch. Roland's second touchdown has brought Oklahoma State back to within a score. Alex Ross, 2 return touchdowns this season. Popped at the 15.
I mean, I think you got to go right back to the ground. The ground is what's gotten you there. Yes, you lost Adam Shedd, but the majority of that offensive line is still there, and you need to go back and rely on them here in the fourth quarter.
Mekhi Quick taking the fake, and straight downhill is Ford. Look out! Inside the 30, breaks one off for 46 yards and steals the momentum right back.
Well, that's one way to get it back. Joe, you'll see just a massive hole open up right in front of you. Neela Casatati, Tyrus Thompson, Ty Darlington, the left side of that offensive line just opened up a huge hole for Keith Ford, and he just ran on a straight line for a big momentum switching play.
Mekhi Quick on the jet sweep. Close to the 20. Good first down gain for the freshman, pushed out by Simmons. And Oklahoma's offense wakes up with Oklahoma State creeping closer. Give Quick 6 yards. Cody Thomas continues to hand the ball off for Bob Stoops' team, which has been so run-oriented with Thomas as the starter since Trevor Knight has gone down. #1 rush offense in America in the month of November. It's Ross. Jimmy Bean over to make the tackle. 3rd down and 2 coming up.
Joe, here you go, 3rd down. Oklahoma State has actually played very well in the red zone today. They've done a nice job of limiting what Oklahoma's been able to do, but they've had a couple penalties that have frankly given too many opportunities to the Sooners. Oklahoma State has to overturn this momentum and hold Oklahoma to a field goal right now.
7 in the box for Oklahoma State. It's a pass play. Thomas has a man wide open. Ripkowski with another big play. 2 touchdowns today for the senior fullback. A reception for 4 yards to convert on 3rd and 2.
And not that you'd expect anything different from a fullback, but watch Aaron Ripkowski catch the ball, turn his head, and drop his shoulder. There's no dancing. He knows he's right there at the 1st down marker, and all he needs is 1 yard. He doesn't try and skirt anybody. He drops that shoulder into him and plows ahead for a 1st down.
Here's Ross. Big hole left side. Inside the 10. Stern stripped him up along with Stevens. Good burst from Alex Ross. 2nd and short.
Well, Joe, not to take anything away from Semaje Perine and what he has done over the last couple games, but it seems like Oklahoma abandoned the run game over the last 2 drives. They were almost kind of in shock. You have to realize it was the offensive line that did so much of the work to open those holes, put Alex Ross, put Keith Ford in there. They're still going to run through those giant holes provided by the O-line.
Ross again. 1st down and goal for the Sooners. Sophomore from Jenks, Oklahoma, high school track star. Averages more than 7 yards a carry. He's more of a straight line guy, though. They like to get out on the edge, not your traditional style running back like they're using him right now.
Well, yeah, he's such a big, tall runner, 6'1", 220 pounds. But if he hits the edge, boy, watch out.
A chop down, 2nd and goal. Stevens from his safety spot. Oklahoma in the red zone today has scored 4 touchdowns on 4 trips. It hasn't been without resistance, though, from this defense of Oklahoma State once they get inside the 5.
I was going to say that it doesn't feel like that. I mean, the near goal line stand they had earlier in the first half, which was negated by a couple pass interference penalties.
Ross, the tailback. Ripkowski powers his way in. His 3rd touchdown of the day.
Joe, this guy is a touchdown machine.
Yeah.
Just give him the ball. 18 points for Ripkowski today. He has 8 yards and 3 touchdowns. It's not a bad ratio.
And he come for the extra point. Back to a 14-point lead for Oklahoma. The offense had gone silent, but then Keith Ford explodes on the first play of the drive, busting one off into Oklahoma State territory. And it leads to the Ripkowski score, his 3rd of the day. Sooners up 2 touchdowns inside of 8. Back in Norman midway through the 4th quarter, and Aaron Ripkowski with his 3rd touchdown of the day. Entered the day with 2 touchdowns in his career, and on his senior day, he's got 3. And a cool, chilly even day here in Norman. Kicking into the wind, this should give Hill a chance, and it does. Tyreek Hill from the 7. Slips his way through, stumbles for a moment, and that cost him. Out to the 39, return of 32. Rudolph, good anticipation, finding the window for Shepard. Working against Julian Wilson on a gain of 14.
Joe, what a nice job by Mason Rudolph. Coming to the backside, he was looking for James Washington on the front side post, sat in the pocket, came back to his secondary receiver on the backside. Well done by the freshman in the pocket.
Has one-on-one and a wide open man. Shepard goes up and gets it, stays on his feet for a Cowboy touchdown. We're not finished yet in Bedlam. 43 yards, Shepard's 2nd score of the day.
Wow. Watch the individual effort by Brandon Shepard. Beats the coverage of the line of scrimmage, makes a strong catch, fights through the safety coming over the top. That is just one young man not being denied. Great play by Brandon Shepard.
Extra point poked through. Oklahoma State back within a touchdown with 4:51 to go and 2 timeouts. The freshman Rudolph finding the junior Shepard, who's in for the score. A 1-touchdown game inside of 5 minutes. Back in a moment. 43-yard touchdown strike to Brandon Shepard. Went up, high point of the ball, broke a couple of tackles, and a career-high 156 yards for the St. Louis native. Mason Rudolph, 19 of 33 for 273, a couple of touchdowns. Oklahoma now will try and grind the clock. You saw the play selection for them today, and really over the last few games, heavy ground game, but no Semaje Perine, out with an injury. Kip Smith drills it. His best kick of the day out of the back of the end zone, and from the 25, Oklahoma would begin this drive.
Joe, look at all the guys near the line of scrimmage for Oklahoma State. They're going to make Cody Thomas throw this ball.
Ross runs for 5. You've said it, no Semaje Perine, but you still have one of the nation's biggest and best offensive lines to run behind.
But you can only block so many guys. You know, you got 5 offensive linemen, you got a tight end, you got a fullback. There's 7. If Oklahoma State is putting 8 or 9 guys up near the line of scrimmage, you're going to have 1 or 2 guys unblocked.
They motion Smallwood and give it to Ross. Tripped up. 3rd and 2.
All right, here you go.
Heck of a finish in this one. 3rd down and 2 coming up for Bob Stoops in Oklahoma. 1 timeout remaining for Oklahoma State. Another monster rushing day for Bob Stoops' team. Need a couple of yards here to keep this drive alive and keep that clock moving.
Joe, do you throw the ball?
No. Do you?
Maybe you slip Ripkowski into the flat, but no, you're going downhill. Look at how many guys Oklahoma State has up at the line of scrimmage.
And they give it to Ross, who's shut down in the backfield, and Oklahoma State will get the ball back with a chance. Seth Jacobs there with Ryan Simmons.
Timeout. Oklahoma
The
State.
final timeout used by Mike Gundy.
30-second timeout.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys up near the line of scrimmage right there. Oklahoma State was not going to let Oklahoma run the ball for that 1st down. That was a gutsy call by Mike Gundy and that Oklahoma State Cowboy defense, because if they got through that 1st line, it's touchdown.
Yeah.
You got nothing behind you.
But what do you got to lose, right?
Nothing.
Only 1 punt in the 1st half for Oklahoma. This is the 4th punt in their last 5 possessions. Oklahoma State alert right here. Barnett does punt it away. Tyreek Hill takes it at the 30. Breaks 1 tackle. Gets outside. Now reversing field once again and dropped at the 27. 38-yard punt. Here comes Mason Rudolph trying to join the ranks of Josh Fields. The last time there were 3 touchdown underdogs came into Norman, and a true freshman in the form of Josh Fields came into the game in the 2nd quarter, led him to a win. 3 touchdown underdogs again today. Back within 7 with the ball inside of 4 minutes. They fake it to Hill. Rudolph, all kinds of time. Held on to it too long and goes down at the 25. Devontae Bond got there with Chuka and Dudaway. 2nd and 12.
And Joe, again, great coverage down the field by the Oklahoma secondary, forcing Mason Rudolph to hold on to that football longer than he wanted to.
No timeouts left for the Cowboys. Rudolph over the middle, wide open is Jarwin, but he dropped it.
Wow. What a perfect throw. Oh, and there it is. Just getting his fingertips on it is Dominic Alexander. Just enough to change the trajectory so that Blake Jarwin can't hold on.
3rd down and 12. Into a tight window, picked off. Zach Sanchez with his 6th of the season.
Joe, I see what he was looking at. Mason Rudolph here. He has David Glidden in the slot trying to find him in that zone, but Zach Sanchez recognizes the route, falls off from his corner position, and frankly, that's just something that you need to see from experience. That's a young freshman quarterback being put in a tough situation against an All-American corner who recognizes the route concept. He knows that his guy isn't a threat, so he can fall inside, makes a nice play. You simply can't plan for that. You just got to see it. You have to have that experience, and a true freshman in his 2nd game doesn't have that experience.
No timeouts remaining for Oklahoma State. Sooners do need to get a first down in order to ice this game. A loss of a yard with Jordan Stearns dropping Alex Ross. Can run it down to about 2.5 before snapping it here on second down. And any points here would make it a 2-possession game. But a good kicker, Michael Honeycutt, has made more field goals than any player in Big 12 history if they get a few more yards to set him up for one. Ross again. Nope, it's a fake. Wow. And Thomas goes down, losing 4.
Joe, I actually like the call because what he tells Cody Thomas is give a hard fake, peel out the backside. You're not going to be throwing this ball. But Oklahoma State is expecting the ball to go to the running back, and maybe you can break, contain around the outside, pick up a big chunk. But Cody Thomas did the right thing in not throwing the football. He got right back into the pocket, went down, kept the clock running.
Inside of 2 minutes now, 10 to snap it. Third down and 16. Ross dropped at the 45. And they can run it down to about 1:10. Inside of 1:10 before having to snap it for this fourth down play. And you know Oklahoma State's going to be coming after it.
Well, you're going to have about 50 seconds left, the length of the field to go, and a true freshman under center. How about that for Oklahoma State? There's where legends are made right there.
Masterful job by Mike Gundy managing those timeouts. Not just him, but this defense, which has kept them in the game. The play clock winds down inside of 5. They snap it to Barnett. Almost blocked, and they got a hold of it. If it's the plant leg, it's roughing. If it's his kicking leg, it's only running into the kicker. And it's just going to be running. That's the preliminary indication from Allenek, which should only be a 5-yard penalty.
Running into the kicker, number 13, defense. 5-yard penalty. It's fourth down.
Joe, take a look at the right hamstring. That's where the contact is. Tries to get his head out of the way.
The game clock will start on the snap.
Nah, you got it.
Yeah.
You got to wonder if there's a little bit of acting by Barnett, but he did. Jordan Stearns made contact with that right
So
hand.
they'll punt it again with 1:01. Tyreek Hill back at his own 11. This time they set up the return. Barnett sends a good one. Hill has it. Tyreek Hill with speed. Breaks through. Hill with the speed. Look out. This is Bedlam. Yards of history for Tyreek Hill, and an extra point away from a tie game. Ben Grogan has to hit this to tie it at 35. Out of the hold of Kip Smith. Low snap, picked up and put through. Caleb Smith bounced the snap back. Kip Smith picked it up and put it down for the game tying extra point. 35 all with 45 seconds.
Joe, the best running into the kicker penalty in the history of Oklahoma State football because it gave Tyreek Hill a chance to do this. You could see it develop from up here in the booth, and the moment he got by that first tackle, gone. You do not catch the speed of Tyreek Hill. And you said it, Joe, Bedlam. You expect this every time these two football teams meet.
How about the block from Jordan Stearns to open it up for the final 50 yards? It was almost as if Oklahoma was caught off guard that he caught the punt. Remember, Alex Ross back to return this kick, one of the best kick returners in the country as well. Ross will have a chance. Ross with room. Jordan Stearns pulls him down across the 35. He returned it 36 yards. And with 37 seconds and 2 timeouts, Cody Thomas and this OU offense back to the field.
And remember, Joe, they don't have to score a touchdown. They just have to get into the field goal range of one of the best kickers in the history of the Big 12 Conference.
Although he doesn't have the strongest leg, talking about Michael Honeycutt, hit a 53-yarder as a freshman. A 51-yarder as a freshman, but his longest this year is 44 yards. Working into the wind with 37 seconds. Thomas steps up in the pocket and gets sacked. Sam Wren got to him. Bob Stoops uses his second timeout. And again, Oklahoma is without Sterling Shepard, their top receiver right now, who tweaked his groin again early in this game on his first reception. No true deep threat out there. With Cody Thomas at quarterback in 2nd and 12. Against a 4-man rush. Across his body for Bell, bounced it in there, 3rd and 12. You got to be careful not to have to punt it again. Tyreek Hill with a 92-yard punt return for a touchdown inside of a minute to tie this game. Now on 3rd and 12, Cody Thomas. Handed off on a draw. Ford with room. Pulled down shy of the first down marker by Larry Stevens. The clock running. 1 timeout left for Oklahoma.
Joe, I'm surprised Coach Stoops isn't using this timeout.
Well, with it being 4th down, why not use it now? He won't use it at all.
The game clock expired before the snap. That's the end of regulation.
So Bob Stoops, instead of using that timeout for one last heave to the end zone, will play for overtime. Wow. Tyreek Hill's 92-yard punt return for a score ties the game inside of a minute. And in the 109th meeting between these rivals for the 2nd time in its history and for the 2nd time in the last 3 years, we head to overtime, locked at 35. Well, after Oklahoma initially said they wanted to play down in front of the students, they've changed their mind, and they'll play down to our right. Cody Thomas, redshirt freshman quarterback, back to work out of the shotgun with Keith Ford in the game at running back. Quick comes in motion off of the fake, under pressure, gets popped. Castleman and Houtow got to him for a loss of 2.
Joe, we haven't talked about James Castleman much today, but this guy has absolutely been a force for Oklahoma State his entire career. He's done everything. 108 tackles, 16.5 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, 6 pass breakups, 2 fumble recoveries, 4 blocked kicks. This young man made a huge play for Oklahoma State at a key time.
2nd sack today allowed by Oklahoma. They had allowed just 6 all season coming in. Over the middle, it's Bell who has it off his fingertips. Might have been broken up by Jacobs, who was hot in pursuit, and it's 3rd and 12.
Joe, 2 straight pass plays for Oklahoma. You've been running the ball all day, and now you come out in overtime and throw the ball twice? I know you had to throw the ball to try and score at the end of the game, but it's almost like they forgot who they were. This has been a very one-dimensional team for the majority of the end of the season. You got to go back to what you've been doing so well.
So now 3rd down and 12, just barely within the range of Michael Honeycutt. Ogba with a bull rush, almost got to him. A flag down. I think you're going to get a holding on an incomplete pass.
Offense. Penalty is declined.
You decline it,
Fourth down.
force the try from right here, which will be officially 43 yards.
Joe, you're going to have Tyrus Thompson, number 71, trying to defend Emmanuel Ogba. That's a tough task. Gets his left arm wrapped right around his neck. That's a good call.
So the fifth-year senior from Richardson, Texas, Michael Honeycutt, 75 career-made field goals, a Big 12 record. Attempts this from 44, which would match his season long. And he hooked it. No good. Anything will do for Oklahoma State now. Special teams, the story down the stretch in this one. Tyreek Hill's 92-yard punt return for a touchdown sent it into OT. And now Honeycutt misses from 44 on Oklahoma's possession.
Joe, and while people are going to look to the Honeycutt kick here in overtime, if they lose this game, it's not because of that kick. It's because of the poor special teams coverage on the punt at the end. It's because of not moving the ball and getting into field goal range at the end of the regulation. It's because they abandoned their identity to start this overtime period and threw the ball twice. Honeycutt has taken some criticism for missing some kicks this year, but this does not fall on his shoulders if the ball game goes to Oklahoma State.
Ben Grogan, Oklahoma State's kicker, has a long of 47. They're already within that range. Desmond Rowland in the game at running back, in front of the freshman Rudolph. Gains a yard inside the 25. 2 touchdowns today for the senior, who's hoping that an overtime win can extend his college career into a bowl game. OK State trying to snap this 5-game skid to reach a bowl for a school record 9th consecutive season.
Joe, and if I'm Mike Gundy, I ask my kicker which hash you like the ball on, and I run the ball 2 more times and set him up for that game-winning field goal.
Rowland again inside the 20. 3rd down.
Joe, I am 99% positive this ball is not going in the air. I mean, I've seen a lot of strange things, but like I said, you go to Ben Grogan, you say, where do you want it? And then you hand the ball to Desmond Rowland, you get him to that spot, and you put it in the hands of your kicker.
3rd down and 4 with Rowland at tailback. Rowland breaks a tackle. 1st down inside the 15, and they're turning it into a chip shot for Grogan.
Joe, how fitting for an offensive line that has taken so much criticism, a running back, a senior in Desmond Rowland who hasn't put up the numbers that he has the last couple years. How fitting is it that the offensive line opens up a big hole and the senior carries it for a big 1st down to set up, like you said, a possible chip shot for Oklahoma State.
From the 11, 1st down, back to Rowland. Powering his way to the 5. Fighting forward to the 3, and it's 2nd down. Riding their senior Rowland, who lost his mother this year to cancer, missed a game back in late October to be with his family, and returned and has used his teammates to battle through. There's no doubt been the toughest thing he's ever had to go through, and try to cap this senior regular season with a win that he'll remember his entire life. 2nd down and 2 from the 3. Rowland again. 3rd down now. Jordan Evans makes the tackle.
Interesting decision here Coach Gundy has. Do you kick it on 3rd down? A lot of coaches will make that call in case something goes wrong with the snap.
Which it did on the game-tying extra point, if you recall. Caleb Smith, redshirt freshman snapper, bounced it back there. Ben Grogan has not attempted a field goal since October. Basically an extra point. Out of the hold of Kip Smith. Rogan hits it. Oklahoma State saves its season with an overtime win in Bedlam.
Joe, how fitting for a team that has had such up and downs all year. They start 5-1, they lose 5 straight to go on the road to their in-state rivals and win a huge game that nobody expected. What a great job by Coach Mike Gundy and his football team.
Let's go down to Chris Budden, who's in the middle of that mess with Mike Gundy.
Well, Coach, just another usual Bedlam game for you guys. You become bowl eligible. You end the season with this win. What does it mean for you?
Well, I'm really happy for the players. They put a lot into this. You know, there's a lot of talk about this game, but the preparation just has to be just like any other game. The kids played their butt off, and they never gave up, so I'm really proud of them.
If anyone here knows what it's like to play as a true freshman in Bedlam, it would be you. Knowing that, what did Mason Rudolph prove to you out there today?
Well, he competed, you know. He wanted to throw the ball out here at the end on 3rd down, and I told him he's somewhat lost his mind, but he competes, you know. The guy likes to play the game, and everybody really, you know, you can't say enough about our defense getting a couple big stops, and then obviously with Tyreek there at the end, you know, he just kind of willed his way to the end zone.
I appreciate it. Congratulations,
Okay.
Coach.
Thank you.
Joe?
A 3-touchdown underdog for the first time since they came here to Norman and won in 2001. Oklahoma State is bowl eligible with an overtime miraculous win in Bedlam.